You're good. Okay, we're ready? Okay, good evening, everyone. This is a meeting of Borough Council for Green Tree Borough for Monday, January 8th. Council has been previously in an executive session discussing personnel and legal matters, so sorry for the delay. I'd like to start off the meeting with a moment of silence for an intention you may have, and then also the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Kim.
Ms. Barron?
Here.
Mr. Hanson?
Here.
Mr. Ray?
Here.
Mr. Romanovich?
Present.
Ms. Schwartz?
Here.
Mr. Troisi?
Present.
Mr. Tintori?
Present.
Mayor Shank?
Present. Thank you very much. And I will be turning this public hearing over to legal counsel, Jake Lee.
Perfect. Thank you very much. We are now going to turn to a public hearing on a conditional use application that was submitted by 987 Green Tree LLC for the property located at 987 Green Tree Road, Pittsburgh, PA 15220. The proposed use for this property is a Jersey Mike's Subs, which is a fast food restaurant. Just as a brief overview, conditional use is a use that is permitted so long as the applicant can demonstrate compliance with the requirements set forth in the zoning ordinance. The ordinance at issue today is section 420-103, which imposes the following conditions on restaurants. The hours of operation for indoor facilities shall be limited to between 5:30 a.m. and 1 a.m. of the following day, and the building shall not exceed an overall height of 30 feet and is limited to 1 story. As a matter of procedure, the applicant will present his application. At the conclusion of that application, Borough Council may ask any questions. Once Borough Council has finished asking questions, there will be an opportunity for the public to comment on this application. Please note that for this portion of the meeting, public comment is limited to the conditional use application. The regular public comment section relating to other agenda items will happen following the conclusion of this hearing. And then at the conclusion of the public comment section, I will end the hearing, and then council will later vote on the application during its regular meeting. And with that being said, the floor is yours.
Yes. Hi, everybody. My name is Luke Gindelsperger. I'm with the HF Lens Company, here representing 987 Green Tree LLC. 987 Green Tree is the franchisee for the proposed Jersey Mike's restaurant there at the intersection of Green Tree Road and Leon Road. As the plan has shown, and it was previously approved by zoning, we have 11 parking stalls on the site. The amount of employees is going to be limited to about 2 at a time. Customers coming in and out. There's a fair amount of takeout, about half takeout, half dine in at any given time. So the lot ideally is going to be running, maybe 8 stalls full at any given time. That in and of itself, the hours of operation for this Jersey Mike's is 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. As far as the conditional use is concerned, the restaurant is, of course, less than 3,000 square feet. It is a fast food style restaurant, which we have about 1,200 square feet for the Jersey Mike's restaurant and about 700 square feet for office space. Which again allowed our parking space count to come down a little bit. We weren't meeting the full parking count, but we did get that approved through zoning, of course. And the building in and of itself is an existing building that is under 30 feet of height. So in all, the restaurant, it's an existing building. We're renovating it. It's pretty cut and dry. If you guys have any questions, I'd love to answer them. But yeah, the goal here today is just seeking approval on the conditional use for the restaurant of less than 3,000 square feet.
Thank you very much. I will now open it up to council at this time for any questions.
In regard to zoning, you indicated that you were before the zoning hearing board. It's my understanding you got both a parking variance and a sign variance from the zoning hearing board. Is that correct?
That is correct. We also did get a sign variance to allow for a 30 square foot sign. I think the allowable size based on the frontage of the building would have been 24 square feet. So they allowed six more square feet, which is a Jersey Mike's. It's basically their cookie cutter sign.
Okay. And in parking, it's a little less than required by the ordinance, but you got a variance for that from the zoning hearing board.
That is correct.
In regard to ingress and egress, that is not on Green Tree Road. It's my understanding it will be on Pocono.
That is correct. We
Leon.
actually.
Leon, sorry.
Or Leon, I apologize.
Sorry.
Yes. We received an HOP permit approval we originally had a workshop with the planning commission to, see what the best ingress and egress would be for the site. It was determined that coming off Leon Road, cutting off the access straight onto the state road, right near that intersection was ideal. And because of that too, we were able to gain 2 more parallel parking stalls in the site.
And for the people in the audience, HOP is highway occupancy permit.
Yes,
So
that is
you had to receive that from PennDOT, Pennsylvania Department of Transportation.
Yes, PennDOT approved that. It's been approved for quite a few months now. They were happy that we were cutting off the access, from the state road. And we are rehabilitating that whole sidewalk there as well, matching what was existing prior, maintaining the ADA ramp, maintaining all those slopes to meet the ADA. And then we're adding it's like a grass island. It's going to be a lot more aesthetically pleasing than what's there right now.
Okay, and lastly, hours of operation. There's other Jersey Mikes in the area. What is the normal closing hour for the other Jersey Mikes in the area?
Yeah, so their hours of operation are 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. for customers come in and order and pick up. But I believe, and I apologize, does he have to say his name or anything on record? Representative of Jersey Mike's.
So the employee gets in like 7:30, 7 o'clock, depending on how much work, like how much bread they have to do and prep to do. So they get in like 1 or 2. One person comes in at 7 or 7:30, and the other employee comes in around 9, 9:30.
But closing, when is closed?
9 p.m.
Okay. And that's kind of standard throughout the area?
Yes.
You're closing, I mean, you have people who are gonna close and clean up at the end of the day, right? What time do they get out?
So they
Roughly.
get out by 9:15, 9:30.
Oh.
We don't have fryers and all that stuff. It doesn't take that much time. If they work throughout the night, they get done by 9:15.
You said, in your testimony, you said about 2 employees. Could you be a little bit more specific?
Can you confirm?
In the morning?
Number
Throughout
of
the day.
employees on
Throughout the
electric
day,
shift.
it depends on the volume. So we typically right now, other stores are running 4 to 5 employees lunchtime, and about at nighttime, we require 3. Get done by 9:15.
Okay, so 4 to 5 employees with 8 parking spots.
There's 11 stalls in total.
There's 11 stalls?
Yeah, and I was
I thought
throwing
you
out a
said-
figure of 8, just saying like at any given time, you have some dine-in, some takeout, but it's gonna be, mostly these stalls are gonna be pull in, grab your food, pull out and go.
So you have 11 stalls total
Yeah, 11 stalls total,
with 4 to 5 employees.
correct.
Okay.
There's 1 ADA stall.
1 ADA stall. And then the dine-in, you have a dine-in option or is it all takeout?
Just both dining and pickup.
And how many dine-in seats?
It's very less because a lot of people doesn't dine in.
I think the last interior plans I saw was 8 seats.
Are there any further questions from council at this time?
When you, it's the HOP, so when you, I believe HOP is the highway occupancy permit.
Yep, highway occupancy permit.
So I used to live on Leon Road. I understand how treacherous it is sometimes to make a left on the Green Tree Road going southbound. Could you help us understand when you receive that HOP, what the mitigation for that is I know that we don't have a stoplight there or anything, but is there concern with, was there concern when you went through that process?
PennDOT never brought up any concern coming off from Leon Street. Their one recommendation, which was not a requirement, but we obviously wanted to meet it anyway, was move the entrance back as far away from the intersection that we possibly could while remaining on our property. Unfortunately, the property is only 1/4 of an acre, so there's not a whole lot of frontage on Leon Street there for us to gain that distance. But we did have that in mind, and you know, and again, this all comes back to direction from that original workshop meeting that I believe we had last December from the Planning Commission of, you know, there is a lot of traffic in that area, and to come off of straight out of the parking lot like it is now, they were worried with, I'm assuming, you know, I guess 11 cars all at one time, that prior it was a gas station. It didn't have 11 cars maybe at one time. There'd be a little too much coming out of those onto the state road directly.
It was much easier when it was a gas station to come out onto the state road through the entrance because you can see over the crest of the hill.
Okay.
Where
the site
the Leon
distance.
Road you can't see. The 4 to 5 employees, are they parking in the Jersey Mike's lot?
That's my understanding, yes. Yes. I also have been told, you know, that some may commute, but there's obviously no guarantee. So as far as commuting being dropped off, but no
Or
guarantee.
on the bus. There is a bus line that runs right by it.
Yeah, that's what I've heard in passing, but I can't guarantee that.
So I just have some concerns with 4 to 5 employees, 11 stalls, parking stalls with 8 seats. I'm familiar with the Jersey Mike's on Cochrane, and those in the dining room tables are usually occupied. So my concern is that employees taking up the parking stalls, dine-in patrons taking up the other stalls. What happens when the parking lot is full and someone comes in? Is there?
Yeah, during the zoning hearing, there was direction that there is a community parking lot in the very near vicinity. Was that not the case?
No, that's not the case.
It would be
Thought
here.
there was a municipal lot, so maybe
It would be here.
Yeah.
that's maybe what they were referring to.
No, they were talking about across the street, which is a private lot.
Okay. Yeah, to be honest, I'm not positive on as far as overflow. I don't know.
And I believe we have parking restrictions on Leon Road, if I'm not mistaken.
Mhm.
If I could raise a quick point here, looking at your diagram here on my screen, your trash enclosure is very close to your entrance and egress. Utilizing a front loader type system, I do not see a way for them to maneuver the parking lot. So it would be assumed that they would have to pull in, hold up traffic on Leon, and then back out
Well,
to come out of your location.
that was trash pickup, at least what I've been told up to this point would happen prior to, in the morning, prior to any customers showing up, before hours of operation, before they open. So the idea was the truck would come in, back in, load up from the back, and then
okay, you're on the
they would
back.
pull out.
Thank you.
There's not gonna be any outside dining, correct?
No, all indoor dining.
And then, I thought I saw something about, maybe there was some discussion about next door, shared parking with Beer Lime and Sunshine. Has that been discussed with the owners of that property at all? Do we know that?
I'm not privy to those conversations, but I can follow up with the owner of Jersey Mike's here and get a good answer to that. Hey, yeah, Dan Patel is the main contact. He's unfortunately overseas at the moment, so he has that type of information.
So I'm not sure if I got an answer to my question about if the, at peak time, if all the parking spots are full, what happens? Is there enough room to turn around?
Yes, there's absolutely enough room, and that's why we have the stripe. We have a lot of striped off areas shown, just line striping.
Oh, that's striped off.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
striped off. That's just line striping. Reason being is because we couldn't fit a full stall in there and have a car parked there and then turn around. That's why we have the 11 stalls where we do, so there is enough line striping where people can back out, they can get in. And if there was an overflow situation where you need another car too, they could probably, I'm not saying, for sure, but they could pull into one of those, utilize those for a minute or two and get on their way.
But does that impact egress and turnaround if you're full? Because again, my point of reference is the Jersey Mike's over in Cochrane. It's usually jam-packed at peak hours.
Okay. Yeah, my understanding, well, and again, so the goal was come in here, and if you do park here, you'll be able to pull up, back, and then pull here. If you did want to come in here, you can pull in and then back. So these line stripings here, as well as this one, you could just pull right out and then go on your way. There's flexibility in maneuvering throughout the lot just because of these, reserve spaces for that specifically.
Will any of the spots in the lot be marked specifically for carry out only or inside restaurant
That
use
was
only?
never a discussion.
Just curious.
As of right now, no. All spots will be able to be utilized freely.
My concern is with parking and overflow, and people come accustomed to the chaos in the parking lot. The overflow parking would logically be Leon Road, and we have residents on Leon Road, so that's a major concern that I have.
Understand.
And again, we have parking restrictions on Leon Road to begin with.
Again, speak with Dan Patel and talk to him about that shared parking agreement and see what we can, if there's any way that they can come up with something to agree upon for overflow in those situations. But as of right now, with getting the zoning approval on the lot, we were kind of gearing towards this was an approved lot layout per se. So as far as that overflow situation, I know it was discussed, but I at this point, I don't think we really vetted it out yet as far as overflow is concerned.
And if there are no further questions from council, I will open it up to public comment. I ask that anybody wishing to speak come to the microphone and please state your name and address for the reporter. Thank you.
Could you tell me how to spell your name?
Oh, yes. It's been S.
Excuse me.
I'm sorry?
Diane Combs, COOMBS, 272 Ringgold Avenue. First of all, I applaud these gentlemen for trying to come to Green Tree, and I hope that council works with them. We have to be flexible. Our laws are not rigid or hard bound. We have to welcome opportunity. That building is sat empty and vacant for +7 years. So it would be a welcome thing. I only have 2 concerns, only because I remember the people that live on Terrace Drive. They complained that when the garbage came at 5:30 in the morning, They who lived on Terrace heard all that ruckus down over the hill from the saloon. So I was just wondering when, garbage would be, because I would hate to see the residents who live behind on Pocono have to live and learn and, have to hear the garbage being dumped at 5:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. Okay, that's one concern. And the large sign that you have, how bright is it going to be at 9 o'clock when it shuts off? Does that mean the sign's off, or is it gonna go into the dim mode? Because we don't need to have thousands upon lumens being, so that the people that live on, on Leon and that aren't blinded by the light. That's all I have to say.
Hi, my name's Tom McMullen,
I'm sorry.
at MCM LLE. Right here. Right across where they're moving the entrance. Why they're not using Green Tree Borough, this is the first time we've seen this. Oh, you guys.
My name's Rose McMullen, McMullen. And yes, my husband Tom and I have lived at 4 Leon Road. Mr. Ray, I remember when you were there, for 30 years. And so we did see the property sit empty for 7 years and such. And, you want your tax base to be good with companies and so on and so forth. I get that. However, I also know that is it ingress and egress of the place? It would be the financial responsibility, to the best of my understanding, of the corporation to go onto a state road. That being said, if they're avoiding that and bringing all that traffic on Leon, I have to say I'm very much against it. We do deal with, thank you, Diane Combs, for commenting about the garbage. We knew it when we lived there. We're right in the heart of Green Tree. I get it. But the garbage for picking up at the salon next door, and when the 7-Eleven was there, and so on and so forth. It's a little loud. It's not 5 o'clock in the morning, but it's loud. When they're coming. It's garbage pickup, That isn't anywhere near as much of an issue as what the traffic. If this has to go through, I gotta tell you, there's gonna be so many accidents. I'm sorry, I don't mean that. I don't know that for sure. But it would so increase the probability, not a possibility of accidents. It would increase the probability because, as you said, Mr. Ray, you can't see over that crest coming this way. My business is this way out of Leon Road. So we deal with it every day. Y'all put a sign up that said, don't block the intersection. Good luck with that. I hope you get a polite Pittsburgh driver who isn't going to block the intersection. However, if there isn't a light there, it's going to be a problem. I fear and feel it would definitely be a problem. So that's not a real good idea. Just saying. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Francis Soon, SOEN. I live at 8 Leon Road. I've lived there for several decades now. But I think one thing the zoning board forgot, maybe they overlooked, is that across from the 7-Eleven, there's another building where they also waived the parking requirements, the grandfathered them in. That's the building that houses the salon, the hair and nail salon, 1 or 2 doctor's offices, I believe, a dentist or something like that. And the people that visit the salon stay for like an hour. So all that parking, that's supposed to be 2-hour parking, for the most part, it's taken up. There's no extra parking. They used to park all the way up to me, 8 Leon Road, where I'm at the crest of the road. And then I complained pre-COVID, and they did, I think enforce the rules a little bit more. Plus COVID basically killed traffic for a while. But even after the recovery, the parking that used to go all the way up past my house, that doesn't happen anymore. So I think the building owners got the message, the employees got the message. But this overflow parking that you mentioned, there is no space. They would have to park up to the crest of the hill beyond that, because most of the time, all that parking on the lower part is taken up already. And then, as Rose mentioned, getting out of that on 8 Leon Road, if that's gonna be the main entrance, you're gonna have people coming northbound and southbound, trying to make that turn and then coming back out. Now, I don't know what the traffic's gonna be like to Jersey Mike, but if they're expecting mostly takeout, that's gonna be a lot of traffic. And there is no, I don't know in Pennsylvania if they have such a thing or if it's just up to the locals. There is no box like they have in New York City where you're supposed to, visually, you're not supposed to go into that box. So a lot of times when I'm trying to make that left turn, there's a car that's blocking my view and I have to inch my way out. There's just no room. So I'm used to it. I take my time, but if you've never been there, you're just thinking, come out. And don't forget, that middle lane changes directions. Okay, it's only in the morning, supposedly 10 o'clock, it will be over, and they're not supposed to be open. What time do you say open, 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock? 10 o'clock, so it should be okay. But if you're not used to that, and employees may not be used to that, that's lane switch could be a problem, as far as accidents anyway. So, and then, he said 11 parking spots. Well, I counted 6 marked very well on the plan there. Where are the other 5? And one's a handicapped of the 6 there in front of the building.
Yeah, that's part of the 11. There's 3 here, 2 here, then you have 5, 6 here. So 5 and 6 makes up the 11.
Yeah, and you're not going to tell me that employees are going to voluntarily park something. They're not going to park in Leon Road because 2-hour restriction. That's not going to happen. So where are you going to park? In the lot. Unless the owner is willing to rent parking spots specifically for the employees in this lot, I don't see it happening. They're going to park in that lot. That's all I have to say there. Thanks.
Christine Short, 251 Park Edge. I hear a lot of things about parking, but we have a business here in Green Tree. It's Starbucks. And yes, there's a drive-through, but there's also parking spots. And there are times that you can't even park to walk in to get your mobile order because there's not enough spaces there. There's like 6 spaces. You got the whole drive-through, and if you're going in to get a mobile order, you have to park your car either on West Manila, walk down, or at the Olive Garden. So, you know, I know when Starbucks was put in, there was a lot of controversy about that, but there's not enough spaces there when you go in to get your mobile order. I like to see a business come into the borough. I understand all the concerns. But I would like to see a new business come in here. That building's been sitting there for a long time. Thank you.
Are there any further public comments at this time? Then at this time, I will officially close the hearing. As I alluded to earlier, a decision will be rendered later during the regular business meeting of the borough.
The hearing is closed. Thank you very much, everyone. We'll move on. This would be a hearing of the citizens. Anyone would like to speak? Oh, I'm sorry, I missed it. Before that, thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, for coming forward. First, I'd like to get approval of the minutes for the December 4th, 2023 meeting.
So moved.
We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Comments? Okay, therefore, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Minutes are approved. Now, we'll have a hearing of the citizens. Anyone would like to address council on any issue relating to the agenda or general business that is presented, please step forward, state your name and your address.
Repeat offender, right? Do you need my name again? Do you need my name?
I have.
First of all, I want to thank council as we start the new year. You spend a lot of time away from your families for the betterment of the Green Tree Borough, and it's greatly appreciated. I just have a little bit laundry list of stuff here that I just want to share with you, and if you want to cut me off at any time, you can. But these are concerns that I have. I walk Green Tree a lot sometimes, and I notice things that are happening and I don't like. House numbers. A lot of people don't even have house numbers on their houses anymore. And I appreciate that fact, when you go to Google and you type in 272 Ringgold Avenue, you will be able to find my house. But there are other houses that they're not anywhere. So if there's an incident or an accident or a situation, they won't be able to find. Like on our street that I live on, Ringgold Avenue, you can't use the premise that odd numbers are on this side, even numbers on this side, because it doesn't happen. I live on in the beginning it's odd and then it turns to even. I don't know why, but that's the way it is. And then a house on Green Tree Road, if you're coming from Green Tree Road going down to Scott Township, they have a big yard rock. And it says what the house number is, but if you're coming this way, you don't know where it is. I think as a gentle reminder to people, they're called house numbers, and we ought to have them. Garbage. Remember last couple months ago, we talked about garbage, and I don't care if they were on the house, on the driveway, but really, after 9 p.m. on Wednesday, they should be taken back and put into that location. I'm walking around Saturday morning at 10 o'clock in the morning, and there are still garbage cans out from Wednesday night. Something's got to be reminded these people. And it's not Borough's Public Works' responsibility. If the garbage can gets knocked over, people need to take pride in where they live, and let's pick up the garbage, okay? And as we're talking about garbage, what happened was when I was away for a little bit, and I asked my daughter to come take my garbage out. I says, I think it's garbage pickup day. And she goes, well, is it or not? And I was like, I don't know. And I say, well, I went on the website and they were like, check the magnet. Okay. Why didn't you have a thing on the website? I don't have a magnet attached to my body 24/7. So if you're going to have information on the website, I would appreciate it that tells you when stuff has to be picked up. All right.
It is on there.
Well, not on the app. It says, see the magnet.
Are you talking about the brand new app? Okay, it should have a link directly to it. I thought I looked at that actually.
Well, when I checked it, it wasn't the thing. Okay, dog poop, that's the other thing. Remind people, could you ask them to pick up their stuff? And the proper receptacle is not the sewer drains, okay? You don't throw those green bags down in there. That's not a good thing. And if you're walking your dog on Green Tree Road and he happens to throw up, or takes a dump there and you don't have a bag or something, call Public Works and ask them or something. Just don't leave it sit there. It's disgusting, all right? And if someone wants, I'll buy a case of bags at $15. You get 420 of them. They can be housed in the borough office and people can come up and get those little bags, all right? I want to know what happened to the weekly email that we used to get, all right? We have Facebook. I'm on Facebook. There's many times that it used to always come out every Thursday or Friday, what's happening in the borough around, in Green Tree for the rest of the weekend, but we don't get those anymore. I'm not on Facebook all the time. So I get my Facebook on Monday and I just missed all the stuff that happened over the weekend. I think that email was very appropriate, very nice. So that's my other issue. I really want to make sure that you all were cognizant about the millage rate. What happened over at Scott Township, we've got to make sure that doesn't happen here in Green Tree. We've got a nice garbage contract that was negotiated, which I understand. But at any given time, healthcare costs for borough employees are going up, and increase in pension costs and things like that. So we need to I would rather have a 10% or 8% raise as opposed to the 53% that Scott Township had, all right? Just to let you know. And my last thing that I'm going to share with you is quit being bullies up there, okay? If you don't like the president, fight with him in the back room, okay? And if you're sassy because you didn't get to say what you wanted to say, too bad, so sad. Don't be mayor anymore. Become on borough council. Fight in private. When you come out here, you represent everybody in this room. It's embarrassing that the people that are on Zoom from other communities see that you guys are acting this way. So, thank you, and have yourself a good day.
The county's done that. The calendar is on the,
Well, when I checked it Saturday, it wasn't there. Okay, it said, it referred me to the magnet, okay? Check the magnet, so that's what it was. When
Thank
I
you.
was out of town, that was my direction.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, thank you very much. I'd like to move on to community service presentation. So I would like to introduce a resolution number 1337, that would be honoring Reno Lindsay for 12 years of service on this borough council. So I would like to make a motion. I move that we adopt resolution 1337, commending Reno Lindsay for his 12 years of service to the borough of Green Tree as a council member.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Now, this doesn't take into consideration any of your firework. This is simply a council thing, so we had to limit it. Okay. Anything else? All in favor?
That's
Aye.
a roll call.
That's a roll call.
Oh, is it a roll
It's a
call?
roll
I'm
call.
sorry.
Yeah.
I want to say yes to
I don't
that.
read it. Well, let's, how about a roll call?
Ms. Barron,
Yes.
Mr. Panza,
Yes.
Mr. Ray,
yes.
Mr. Romanovich,
Yes.
Ms. Schwartz,
Yes.
Mr. Croce,
Yes.
Mr. Tintor.
Yes. Okay, that motion passes. Thank you very much. Would you like to accommodate? Would you like to?
Would you like to say something?
Okay, good.
This is blanket.
Wait, Art, I think you and Reno need a picture for the newsletter. I think we.
Yeah, we're
we
just
need
happy
a picture.
Yeah.
We'll definitely get a picture
I bet
after.
they got one of those blankets for you too.
Yeah, we'll have to work that out for you. Thanks again, Mr. Lindsay. Okay, moving on to new business, finance and general policy, Mr. Teresi.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would move that we ratify the actions of the borough manager, paying the December 2023 invoices from the general fund totaling $255,712.08. The storm sewer fund totaling $4,742.17. The sanitary sewer fund totaling $31,377.42. Capital projects fund totaling $606,694.94. The bond fund totaling $7,050. The farmer's market totaling $5,135. Payroll account totaling $216,298.13. Educational service agency totaling $5,569.80. And credit card for November 23 totaling $4,352.44.
Anyone want a second? Okay,
Second.
we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Abstained? Motion passes.
Next, I would move that we approve the payment of the January 2024 invoices from the general fund, which total $122,898.36.
Do I hear a second? You have a second? Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion passes.
And that's all I have.
Thank you very much. Next, I'd like to move on to infrastructure, Mr. Romanovich.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would move that we award the Fryer Excavating and Contract Company with a base bid of $21,777.44. An alternate bid number one for $4,881.61. An alternate bid number two for $4,881.66 for borough ADA curb ramps as recommended by LSSE letter dated December 19th, 2023.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Anything else? Okay, we'll move on to planning and zoning, Mr. Ray.
I'm gonna start from the bottom up. We have a vacancy on the zoning hearing board. We had 2 residents apply for that vacancy. I would like to move that we appoint Mr. Greg Tebow to fill the unexpired term on the zoning hearing board with a term to expire on December 31st, 2025. I should say that we interviewed both candidates. Mr. Tebow, it was obvious that he has a passion for volunteering, has a commitment to Green Tree, and looks forward to serving on the board.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? The motion passes.
Second is that with regards to the solid waste ordinance, I move that we pass ordinance number 1892, updating articles 1 and 2 of chapter 282 of the borough's code of ordinances, update requirements for the disposal of garbage and recycling for the borough.
I have a question about the 3 o'clock timeframe.
We need a second first.
Yeah, we need a second first. Or we need a second.
I'll second it to open discussions.
The 3 o'clock timeframe, is there a reason we were moving it up from 5 o'clock?
Yeah, moving it up from 5 o'clock was to give those that work second shift an opportunity to put the garbage out.
So my only concern is this, 3 o'clock, our schools let out at 3:20. We don't have sidewalks on a majority of streets in Green Tree Borough, which means that on trash day, if we have people putting trash out at 3 o'clock, we now have kids who are going to have to walk into the street around trash cans while cars are going, and we don't have that many crossing guards. So I'm just concerned that that's adding a safety issue if we go at the time that kids are coming out of school. Just because I know like on Warriors, there are sections where there aren't enough sidewalk, even with without a trash can. So once you add a trash can, my son is now walking into the middle of the road to get around a trash can to walk to our house. And there are several roads that are busy. I just, that's a concern as far as timing. I don't know that most people are even home at 3 o'clock to put their trash out. So that's my main issue. I just think it's gonna add the potential for more problems than it's going to solve. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Anyone else? Okay.
Would an amendment to 4 PM be reasonable? From 3 PM to 4 PM?
Given that justification, I would agree. Again, the reason why, so the planning commission looked at this, so did our solicitor. Again, the reason for the 3 PM was to accommodate those that work second shifts, so that they could put their trash out before they leave, or the night shift, before they leave for their work shift.
I mean, I think there could be conditional for those people. I just worry, we do have a larger senior population. And yes, they probably would love to put it out during daylight, but if we open it to 3 o'clock for the whole community,
so
it adds a problem.
My question now, David, on Mr. Wright, is if you're saying that was 3 o'clock was considered for the second shift, what is the standard second shift? I thought 3 till 11 is standard second shift.
Yeah.
So making it at 3 o'clock, it's not accommodating people that have to be at work at 3. So your theory, I mean, what you're stating for the purpose doesn't make any sense then. Now, if you would say 1 o'clock, so people before they go to the second shift could put their garbage out, but 3 o'clock, the standard shift starts at 3 o'clock. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. So whatever thought that was, that's not making sense. So by 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, it's not gonna make a difference because people are gonna be at work at 3 anyways. So, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody else? I would just say I'm of the opinion, I don't think at this point we need to fix anything that wasn't really broke, but that's just my opinion. Anybody else have any thoughts? Okay. We have a motion, we have a second. Roll call vote, please, Kim.
Mr. Ray,
Yes.
Mr. Romanovich,
Yes.
Ms. Schwartz,
No.
Mr. Troisi,
As it is, no.
Ms. Barron,
No.
Mr. Panza,
As it is, no.
Mr. Tofor.
No.
Mr. Troisi and Mr. Panza, you're on the planning commission committee with me. We've reviewed this and you agreed to it. If you had concerns, why didn't you address it in committee?
My new concern aroused just a few minutes ago, that Ms.
We
Schwartz.
had the chance to look at this. We reviewed it in committee. It went back and forth with the solicitor.
Then why ask for discussion then, if it's not?
We asked for discussion because.
It's like asking discussion from the community and not responding to what they bring up. You know, decisions aren't made prior to the vote. Decisions are not made prior to the vote.
The reason
New
why.
information came up, I voted, I changed my mind. I'd like to see it at 4 o'clock. That's all.
We can make that amendment.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But we just voted on it as is.
So we just voted and the vote stands.
I just don't understand why we spend the time to meet in committee, to go back and forth with revisions, countless emails. If, why waste the time?
It wasn't.
Why waste the time? You had, Mr. Troisi had no issue with it in committee.
Yeah, and I didn't, honestly, I didn't think of the 3 o'clock being,
So if
School
3
time.
o'clock is the issue, why don't we just change it to 4 o'clock?
Well,
We
yeah,
can make the
absolutely.
amendment. Can we make the amendment in here, or do we have to make the amendment to the ordinance? This is the question for
I
the
think we need to
solicitor.
bring it back. It got,
It's
it
a-
was, turned out, it was voted. So this particular thing, you could bring it back to some other,
Could we revisit,
you could revisit it next
could we
month.
revisit this at our
It
next
just-
meeting and
it just
bring it
got
back?
So
voted.
if we change it to 4 o'clock, would,
Why can't we just make a motion right now?
Because we already voted.
Because you already, all right, we
No,
just-
no, we voted on this, but now can we make a new motion to vote on ordinance 1892 with the revision of the 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock?
I don't see any issue with voting on the revised ordinance.
Okay, then,
I'd like to make a motion that we revise, is it still 1892 or is it a different?
It would still
ordinance?
be 1892.
I make a motion that we revise 1892 as it's currently written, and change Article 1, Section 282-2 to read, no garbage, rubbish, or recycling shall be stored, permitted, or otherwise placed at the curbside for collection earlier than 4 PM on the evening preceding the scheduled collection day. Everything else in the ordinance stands as written.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion, and a second. Any further discussion? Okay. Roll call vote. Kim?
Mr. Ray,
Yes.
Mr. Romanovich,
Yes.
Ms. Schwartz,
Yes.
Mr. Troisi,
yes.
Ms. Barron,
No.
Mr. Panza,
Yes.
Mr. Tofor.
No. Okay, the motion passes.
Next on the agenda is the Jersey Mike's Sub Shop. I move that we approve the conditional use application for CU-01-2023 for applicant Jersey Mike's Sub Shop to open a restaurant, fast food, less than 3,000 square feet within a neighborhood commercial zoning district at 987 Green Tree Road.
Do I have a second? I can tell you one of the issues that, about the parking that maybe,
We can't have discussion.
I will second it just for discuss,
And
open it
just-
for discussion.
Thank you. And just as a clarification from the legal side, because I know we have some new members and I also know that conditional use hearings don't happen every month. As I stated during the initial hearing, and I would just like to reiterate, a conditional use is a permitted use if the applicant can demonstrate that there is compliance with the conditions listed in the zoning ordinance. With respect to the application that was received, the ordinance at issue, as I said during the hearing, is section 420-103, which means that so long as the applicant could prove compliance with those two conditions, the first of which being with respect to hours of operation, and the second of which being with respect to the height of the building, then the applicant is entitled by law to approval of the conditional use. I know there are other concerns, but again, just reminding everyone the scope of what the law says with respect to conditional uses, even if other decisions were made by other boards at other hearings that may not be agreed upon by some.
So what are we voting on?
Voting to whether or not to approve the conditional use for the Jersey Mike's based off of the testimony provided for during the hearing on whether the conditions listed under section 420-103 were met by the applicant.
And those conditions being the height of the building.
And the hours of
And the
operation.
hours of operation, nothing else.
Nothing else.
Just those two items. Thank you.
And there, just to clarify, and you jump in and tell me I'm wrong, whatever you like. But there was also an issue with the parking and the signage, which was approved by the zoning board. So unless we're, as the Borough of Green Tree, appealing that decision, then
That is
you know,
not on the
that
table right
stands.
now.
And
Gotcha.
Can we appeal that decision or is it too late?
That is to my
it was
knowledge too
October,
late.
so it's too late.
I just wanted to make sure that information was out there before we took it any further.
Yeah, we're
So
only
we
voting
were
on
very-
this.
Yes, very clear on what we were voting.
Yes.
So any other discussion?
So, but the law, you're saying the law dictates this, right? So
Yes.
I'm so unclear what we're voting on.
We
If the
are
law
voting-
dictates that,
So essentially what happens with a conditional use application is that, as stated before, an applicant is permitted to a conditional use by right so long as they can demonstrate that they've met the whatever conditions are listed in the ordinance at issue. So the purpose of today's hearing was for the applicant to come forth and demonstrate to Borough Council whether or not they have or they will comply with the conditions at issue in the specific ordinance. So today's vote is to approve the conditional use. I'm just letting you know the scope of what the law says regarding conditional use hearings, review, and acceptance and denials.
did they talk about the height of the building in their testimony?
They did.
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure everyone was clear on what we were actually voting on. We do have a motion and we have a second. And if you're okay, we will get a vote.
Yeah, it's all.
Yes, that's what I mean. We're going to have a vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I abstain.
Abstain? Okay, so motion carries. Thank you very much. Next
Yeah,
up.
I think, let me just kind of make a comment.
Sure.
I think this is maybe an opportunity for us to recognize the importance of attending borough meetings, including the zoning hearing board meetings and the planning commission meetings. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
Yep.
And not just us, but the residents that.
Correct.
Yeah.
That have concerns.
So for clarification, when they said their sign was slightly larger, that was irrelevant tonight, even talking about.
So all of the variance issues get flushed out before the zoning hearing board. So once they get approval for all of those, they get the green light to proceed to Borough Council. And that is when we, you as a collective governing body, review the conditions stated in the ordinance and determine whether or not the applicant has complied with those. That's the extent of the Borough Council's review at that time.
But what about the curb cut? Because it sounded like that went through PennDOT.
Correct. I mean, there are
So-
certain permitting and applications that need to be filed by any, with respect to any proposed use or land development that go through the proper channels with the Department of Transportation, for instance.
But at what point did the borough have, and maybe this is a learning lesson for me, but at what point did the borough have any recourse on the decision that PennDOT or the whomever said it was okay to close off the entrance to Green Tree Road and have to go on the Leon Road?
I mean, that's typically a decision that's left for PennDOT to make.
It's not ours.
But what about, but it's impacting a borough road.
That is correct. But again, you know, that is a decision that is left for PennDOT to make. And with respect to the ordinance, we're bound by the ordinance as the way it's written and the conditions contained therein.
So again, the borough had no recourse to say, we don't want that curb cut being moved further up onto our road.
Once they got approval from the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation, the request could have presumably been made during the underlying hearings when there was more feedback with the applicants. But again, at this time, it's really just limited to whether or not there's compliance with the conditions.
That's the end of my report.
Okay, thank you so much. Next up, I'd like to have the mayor's report.
Okay, thank you. Couple things here. I have mayor's office hours on Saturday, January 13th. So that's a Saturday from 9 to 11:30. So if anyone has any concerns, any compliments, anything, they can come then. On January 18th, there's a meeting of the Allegheny County mayors at the Oakmont Library. I will attend that. The last meeting was at Carnegie Library in Homestead. So this one actually is going to be, if you go early, you can go to Oakmont Bakery. So I've not been there, so I will attend that. In regard to our police department, the Civil Service Commission, they have oral exams scheduled for January 16th. So we need to hire maybe definitely one, possibly two police officers, Civil Service Commission. This, I believe, is the last step before certifying 3 candidates to council to vote on. There's also been good action by our police department, Ryan Bocci and Brad Gavlik in particular. I'd like to read what I wrote to them. Ryan and Brad, on the evening of December 22, 2022, you were both dispatched to the residence on Roadridge Drive for the report of a person having been shot. You arrived at the scene with minimal information. You immediately entered the residence and encountered a severely wounded, unresponsive person. Despite having to remain in an unsecured area during an active and dangerous situation, you rendered first aid to the victim. After having provided first aid to the victim, you were able to take control of the situation and ensure that there were no additional casualties. You both demonstrated courage, compassion, and professionalism during the entire incident. You did not hesitate to assist a person in need, fully realizing that you were putting yourselves in harm's way. You were able to maintain your demeanors and direct supporting agencies in an efficient manner. When interacting with the parents of the involved parties, you both showed great poise and compassion. Your actions during this incident were very commendable and have brought praise to the Green Tree Police Department. On behalf of the Borough Council and on my own behalf, I extend to each of you our appreciation for the way that you handled this very challenging, dangerous, and unfortunate incident. So our police department, acting Chief Rannigan provided me with that information. He was very pleased, and other police departments also gave us, complimented our officers on the way they handled that situation. In regard to the waste management contract that was mentioned, I looked up, it expires on December 31, 2027. So we do have 4 years yet. So that's good because waste management, we do anticipate that it will go up. Council maybe wants to reconsider establishing a waste management fund. We did have one, but for one reason or another, we discontinued it. But the waste management fund maybe build up some money to help alleviate the cost come January 1, 2028. A couple more things here. I noticed in our report, 2021 bond proceeds. We have bond proceeds for a swimming pool and for the Trumbull Drive Bridge. We've invested them with the approval of our bond council in state, local government securities. So we'll make some money on that money that we got from the bond, pending spending that money for either the bridge or for the bridge improvement. So that was a good move. So on the part of council and the borough manager. In regard to police reports, I'm reading the police report, and for just in the month of December, there were 5 mental health calls. I mean, the police department dealt with 5 persons that have mental health problems. So that's pervasive in society. I guess it's been more prevalent. Our police department handled all those situations well. There also were 5 domestic calls in the month of December. That's another thing that's pervasive. There was just a problem. I don't know if a problem, but there was just an incident in Upper St. Clair. So you can never tell what's going to happen on these mental health and on the domestic, but our police department is well trained. We intend to keep them trained. 2 miscellaneous things here. I was hiking the nature center trails during the Christmas holidays with the grandson. The trails are well marked colors for different colored trails. So that was a good place to hike. It's hilly, but the grandson and I had a good time. I got my 10,000 feet in. He made a comment that I was probably the only grandfather that would be out there hiking it. He said the rest of the grandfathers would be home resting, thinking about when they were going to die. But anyhow, then he looked at me, says, "I'm being sarcastic, pal." So I picked up on that. I said, "I'm glad I'm not one of them." So he's 8 years old. Other thing, just a miscellaneous thing. I'm going to try to point out miscellaneous things. On the new recycling, we got magnets that you can reuse, because before the recycling it wasn't recyclable, the whole magnet, but now we have a separate magnet, which is helpful. 2 more things in regard to Mr. Lindsay. He's here tonight. He doesn't look as good without a tie, but in any event, I really appreciate all the work he did and the time that he spent and all the conversations we had. I don't know what I'm going to do with all my free time now, but I'll have to think about it. So since I won't have as many conversations. Then lastly, I do have to address just very briefly, there's a misconception that a mayor has to join council to be able to speak. That's a misunderstanding of state law. That's a misunderstanding of case law. A mayor can speak on anything and everything. And I think we've straightened that out with Mr. Tintori. But I just wanted to make sure that members in the audience realize that. And the other thing is, if I attempt to resolve something privately and am ignored, I am going to speak in public. I do not like to speak in public. I do not like to be a negative I do like to speak in public. Rita's correcting me. I do like to speak in public, but I like to be positive. I like to be positive. I am very seldom negative in public, but if I have to be negative in public, I'm not going to hesitate to do so, even though it's difficult for me to do so. And if I get the result, if I think that's the way I have to go about to get the result, I will do it again. So hopefully I don't have to. Hopefully we have that resolved. And I look forward to working with Mr. Tentori as president and the rest of the council. But thank you. End of my report.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. We will move on to report of committees. First up, Finance and General Policy, Mr. Tarosi.
I think the mayor's pretty much covered everything. I have nothing new to report.
Okay, thank you so much. Infrastructure, Mr. Romanovich.
Thank you, Mr. President. At this point in time, there's nothing to report from the infrastructure committee.
Thank you very much. Planning and zoning, Ms. Schwartz.
I have nothing to report, but I'm looking forward to learning under the tutelage of Mr. Ray, who previously was the chair of this committee.
Thank you very much. Move on to public facilities and equipment, Ms. Barron.
We are going to have a meeting later this month with my reconfigured committee, which is now myself, chaired by myself, still Mr. Rovanovich, and we are welcoming Ms. Schwartz. So we will be meeting together in a few weeks and ahead of our next meeting, our next public meeting. And then just that we are going to continue to work on our parks, and I'll keep everyone updated about the library, and that's it.
Thank you very much. Moving on to public safety, Mr. Ray.
Big shoes to fill with Mr. Lindsay's departure, chairing the Public Safety Committee. I look forward to working with the fire company and the police department. That's all I got.
Thank you very much. Recreation, programming, community welfare, Mr. Pan.
Thank you. A couple of things. One, I wanted to point out the parking lot was very crowded tonight as we came to this meeting. That's because Winter Rec started tonight. It will be every Monday till the middle of February. Seems to be successful already due to the number of people here. Also, we have till March the 15th to build a snowman to qualify for the snowman contest. Guaranteeing it should snow by then, so we're able to build. However, as stated before, you can import snow if necessary, and the snowman will still count as long as it's built in the borough. And also, finally, we have some openings. In March, we will have an opening on the rec board. And we also, we had a meeting about whether we want to try to continue the farmer's market. Everyone was 100% behind trying to continue the farmer's market. However, we are in desperate need of some volunteers to help with the setup and the tear down. So hopefully, we'll get some applicants. And at this point, the only other thing I have is we do have to make a person that represents us at the COG, and we need an alternate.
Correct.
So I think.
Still looking for volunteers.
Okay, when we haven't had anyone, okay. I just wanted to make that noted. So I would like to, at this point, that's the end of my.
You're going to volunteer?
No, not at this time. However, I was approached about the fact that something we may want to consider is we do a lot of work with the Shea Cog, the South Hills Cog. I mean, we do a number of things with them. And they were wondering if we would be interested in rejoining them officially. Something to think about. We left them 22 years ago because they were more focused on the Route 51 corridor, and we felt we were more an airport corridor, community. However, I mean, we do so many things with the Shea Cog. Our police work with Shea Cog. I mean, there's a number of things. Fire, salt. I mean, and they were just asking if we would reconsider rejoining. But that's all I have for this evening.
Okay, that'll be something to further discuss?
Yes.
Get some more insight on that. I know we've had also a long history with our current cog. Well, we're on both cogs really, but the one we're really participating is Shar West.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you much. Okay, as far as President's report, just a couple things. We've been really lucky dancing around the winter. So that's good or bad for the snowman contest, I'm not sure. But also want to shout out Public Works for doing a good job. When we had our first little bit of snow for the new year, everything worked out really well. You guys did a great job. Hopefully we don't have too many more of these, but we're always ready. And I appreciate that. We all appreciate you guys. And then since it's a brand new year, we have a brand new council. I think there is a lot of enthusiasm among all of us. We've been, as we get together and we talk, I think there's a lot of enthusiasm for the future and there's a lot of unity for the future. So I'm anticipating we continue to do what we got to do to put Green Tree first. And I think we can all be assured that that's our goal for at least my goal. That's our goal for this year. So I'll just leave it at that. A lot of good stuff, a lot of important stuff to get done this year, and hopefully we get it all done and as best as we can. And I think it's going to be, I'm once again very optimistic. So with that, I'll move on to the manager's report. Ms. Miller.
I just wanted to let everybody know that it sounds like a lot of people have already downloaded the GoGov app, which is a great new app created specifically for Green Tree. You go in, if you're of the mind to have an app on your phone, you go in, create an account, sign up for alerts that are specific to you. You may just want more emergency type notifications. You may just want notifications about meetings or notifications about rec programs. You can customize your notifications so that you get the news and information that you're interested in. And then if you have either yourself or a friend or relative is not interested in having an app on the phone, they can sign up for email notifications. So all this, you could sign up for all the same information, but rather than coming to you through a notification on your phone, it'll come to you through your email. So we hope that that will be an acceptable solution and replacement to the Green Tree greetings, which took up a lot of staff time to create that every single week. You don't think it's a lot, but when it's like, oh my gosh, it's already Thursday, we have to get that together and put it out. It had a lot of graphics to it and whatnot, so it was a lot of work.
Judy, are the alerts currently going out in the app?
They will, yes.
They haven't.
Not yet, we're getting that ready, but all the news and information is there now. So like, for instance, you can go to the calendar, you can go to
When can the residents expect to get
tree
notifications?
recycling. I have to check with my trustee staff because I have passed off that project to both Kim and Wendy, and they've done a great job getting everything up and running, but it's this week.
Okay.
And that's all I have.
Thank you very much.
Well, I would like to make a motion, we adjourn this meeting.
So moved. We are adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone.